You wouldn't think this car was over 10 years old, would you? Based on the same chassis as the 8V Audi A3, but with a much lower centre of gravity and a wider track, think of the Audi TT as not so much of a sports car, but a very well accomplished, much better handling Audi A3. I mean, heck, it's even still got a big boot. Can't say that about most two-door coupes. With 184 horsepower, 380 newton meters of torque, we're going to test its 0 to 60, its 30 to 70, see how loud it is on the motorway. Is it actually louder than an Audi A3 inside? And of course, we're going to test its MPG and see how fun this thing is to drive. Because my name's Tom, and you're watching Paragon Cars. Let's get into it. Virtual cockpit, swathes of Alcantara, a deployable spoiler, and modern looks by even today's standards, I think. This 2-litre diesel TT has literally just come into us to the dealership. It's got 82,000 miles on the clock, or just over, and from where I'm sitting, it feels pretty much brand new. And obviously being based on the same chassis as the A3, it means things like parking are just as easy. Got a manual gearbox in this, chuck it into reverse, got parking sensors on the rear and the front, and then plenty of steering angle, even though it's just 2 turns lock to lock. It's just very easy to daily, really, because it's still fundamentally quite a square shape. So even when you open the door like this, you can still get to the first notch. So getting in and out of a low-down 2-door coupe is actually quite easy. Now, at just 1,265 kilos, you're about 100 kilos lighter than the equivalent A3. And obviously being lower and wider, the handling is vastly improved. Even just pootling around town, I can feel a more positive turn-in and just more coming through my bum in the seat. But the great thing about the TT is that it does basically everything that the A3 can do, apart from carry rear passengers. Yeah, don't try that. It's still got a huge boot, 712 litres with the seats down, and will go over speed bumps with ease. In fact, the Audi TT actually outshines the A3 in some ways where a 2-door coupe normally wouldn't. So coming out of junctions here, we've got a wider track, wider tyres, and it's lower down, so we just get more grip in general, which means coming out of junctions, there's just no drama really. In fact, there's literally zero drama. And because we're lighter, we've got better fuel economy, because we've got the same 2-litre TDI engine that you can get in the Audi A3. So this will, in theory, on the combined cycle, do 64 miles per gallon. Now, of course, we are going to test that today, but before we do that, we've got to see what this car will do on the 30 to 70 sprint. Now, we did a time of 6.05 seconds, which fundamentally is actually really fast. That's pretty much as quick as a 272 horsepower Audi Q7, and as fast as a hot hatch and a Bath 595, which did 5.81 seconds. This car punches well above its weight. Now then, coming onto the motorway in this thing, this actually has the same amount of torque per tonne that the Audi RS3 does, or pretty much the same, only 17 newton meters less, because it only weighs 1,265 kilos instead of like nearly 1.5 tons. Anyway, so you put your foot down, and yeah, it is genuinely quite a spicy car, and that's like 3rd gear. Even if I go into 6th, the torque comes in at just 1,750 RPM, that full 380 newton meters. So if I just plant my foot in 6th gear, look at that. That's from 60 to 70 in like nearly 3 seconds, if that. Let's just do that again. So 60 miles an hour, plant my foot down, now. And you can feel it when the boost comes in. And if I want to be all the way in boost, I can just quickly downshift to 5th. Very easy to rev match in this thing. Go from like 55, plant my foot, boost comes in now. and you're off. Look at that, 65, 70. It's genuinely really sprightly. And what's great about this is that you can just leave it in 6th gear on the motorway from like 45-ish miles an hour, and you just poodle around. And the thing is, you just do great fuel economy. We're already doing nearly 40 miles per gallon because it's just light. Lightness is the key to a great car. Why do you think people like Gordon Murray with the McLaren F1 were so successful back in the day? But anyway, I digress. On the motorway, this thing is definitely slightly louder than the equivalent Audi A3, unfortunately. The Audi A3 does about 71.5 decibels, and this is doing about 72.6 at 70 miles an hour. So it's not terrible, but it's also definitely noisier. But everything else, the steering, the brakes, the composure of the car is just very, very nice. Like even coming around this corner here, I can feel what this front outside wheel is doing. It's telling me what's going on, much better than a regular Audi A3 would. So far, it's kind of just like a fun Audi A3. But anyway, back to the MPG. Will it really do 64 miles per gallon? Well, let's find out. So we had a pretty much perfect run today at 70 miles an hour, and we've done 54.6 miles per gallon, going up to 55 now. So there's no doubt in my mind, if you had a longer stretch of motorway, you would easily do 64 mpg in this thing. Remember, we've only done about 15 miles, and we've already gotten 55 mpg. That is genuinely quite impressive, and half of that driving was in town. Traction control off, stability in dynamic. Let's see what this thing feels like, eh? Front end turning is absolutely bonkers in this thing. If I plant my foot mid-corner, you get a little bit of understeer, but then you come off the throttle and you actually feel the rear end rotating. And look at this speed. This car just feels like it's got way more power going on underneath the bonnet. If you told me this had nearly 300 horsepower, I'd believe you. It's genuinely that fast. It is bonkers. And the gearbox and clutch feel really nice. They're not the best in the world, but it's easy to heel and tow, and it's easy to judge how fast the engine is going to rev. Then in terms of the brakes, nice big brakes on this, and obviously the car weighs nothing. Weight is the key to a great car. Then in terms of sound, we do actually have kind of an exhaust on this, so if I plant my foot, you get like a thrum almost from the engine. Quite a nice one as well for a 2-litre diesel. Steering is genuinely quite good. Like, it's a sporty steering rack in this. And it means coming around faster corners like this, you can really lean on it. I mean, I genuinely would take this car to a track day. The chassis is so capable and so engaging that I don't see why you wouldn't. And the thing is, Audis just get better with speed, especially the TT. The faster you're going, the more the chassis moves around, and the more you can explore what this car can actually do. This would give some hot hatches a run for their money, you know. It's got so much lateral grip. Getting this car to understeer is really quite hard. So if I come around this corner now and I act like I'm actually trying to go quickly, rather than just planting my foot, no understeer, no understeer, no understeer, it just keeps on going. And in fact, it's got so much grip that actually getting to that limit on a public road is pretty hard. You know, you'd have to be doing illegal speeds fundamentally. So that's why I say you should actually take this thing on a track day, because it's genuinely quite a lot of fun. So yes, it's definitely, unequivocally, without a doubt, more fun than an Audi A3. And do you know what? Compared to something like a BMW 1 Series, yes, the older one was rear-wheel drive, but the new one's front-wheel drive. I actually kind of prefer the way this handles over that. And yeah, genuinely surprised that I'm saying that. But anyway, back to this thing being front-wheel drive. It does create one problem, and that is that getting this car off the line can sometimes be quite difficult. And that, combined with a manual gearbox, sometimes it doesn't really matter how much power you have. It's down to driver skill and physical amounts of grip. This car is claimed to do 0 to 60 in 7.2 seconds, and to be honest, if I get anywhere near that today, I will be very happy, because it's also raining. Anyway, enough driver excuses. Let's do a 0 to 60 and see what this car can do. So, granted, I didn't do the manufacturer's claim time, but with a wet road, me being nice to the clutch, and yeah, manual shifting, I still did 7.79 seconds. You can even see on the graph where I'm changing gears, but I think fundamentally I did a pretty decent time. All things considered, it was faster than a Golf GTD, a Mercedes CLA 180, and only 0.1 of a second off of a DSG powered Tiguan 2-litre TSI. So fundamentally, the Audi TT is just a fast car, and even in second gear you get a little wheel spin. But going down B roads in this thing, it's just so confidence inspiring. I can really lean on the tyres, I know exactly what the dampers are doing, and even over bigger bumps like this, it just does exactly what I'm expecting it to do. And having a manual gearbox in something like this is just lovely. It's an extra layer of engagement that you just don't get in most other cars. And the thing is, you can really chuck this car into corners and it just loves it. Rear end comes around very predictably, never does anything super untoward. It just does exactly what you expect it to do. Anyway, will it hit 60 before the corner though? Right, starting from second gear. That probably wasn't a good starting point. But it will definitely hit 60 before the corner. 184 horsepower and it's this quick. It's genuinely so fast for a car with less than 200 brake. It gives you that like woo feeling in your stomach. So like third gear, like 2000-ish revs, you put on your foot. And when the torque comes in, you're genuinely like pushed back in your seat a bit. God, it's such a good car. It's just so planted. And do you know what? One thing I will say, every time I drive an Audi TT, I get into it thinking, nah, it's just going to be a bit meh. It's just not going to have that, like, real oomph and that sporty feeling that I want from a car like this and a car that looks like this. But then I drive it and the steering, it comes back to life. It's so much better than a regular Audi A3, the steering in this. I mean, I would say it's actually better than an RS3 in terms of feel. You just really get a gauge on exactly how much grip you have at the front wheels. And the chassis, it's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. You could take this on a track day and it wouldn't feel out of place. It's like, don't think of it like a competitor to something like a Porsche Boxster. Think of it as a competitor to something like a Hyundai i30N or a VW Golf GTI. I mean, it handles better than a GTI. It feels nicer to drive to me. It's slightly more oversteery, and because you're sitting so low, you just get more of what's going on. You just get so much more feedback. And the other thing is, it doesn't cost as much as a Porsche Boxster. This is only just under £12,000, this car. Like, it's actually a lot of bang for your buck when you think about it. So yes, it's got a specific use case, which is that, you know, you can't really carry passengers in this thing. I mean, maybe you could carry some small dogs, but if you only need to carry one person as a passenger, e.g. your partner, and you still need loads of luggage space, which this has, loads of luggage space, and you still want a car that will do very good fuel economy figures, but then also be fun to drive on a B road, the Audi TT is a genuinely good proposition. I struggle to think of another car that would do it better in that regard. Because why would you buy an Audi A3 at that point? This is just an A3, but better in every way apart from the fact it doesn't have proper rear seats. That's literally it. Anyway, let me know what you think about the Audi TT in the comments. If you enjoyed this content, please give us a like, and why not subscribe? As not only can you see more content like this, you can see everything we have for sale, which includes this rather nice little Audi. There'll be a link down in the description below for this car, and obviously a link to our generic website. But anyway, I'll leave you guys for now, because my name's Tom, and you have been watching Paragon Cars. I'll see you next week. Cheers.